Rams house, welcome into a brand new episode of the Rams Report presented by Prize Picks. And guys, we've got another brand new update, another new report on Aaron Donald and his possible return from NFL insider Ian Rapoport to discuss on today's show. And guys, every time we get an update around this, it just gets me going, man. I get so excited because I'm just like, when is the next shoe going to drop? We've seen these rumors swirl around Aaron Donald for, ever since June 1st. It's felt like. We know going all the way back to before Myles Garrett being a Ram was an idea in all but the most, I would say, fanatical of Rams fans out there. Aaron Donald made a comment about, hey, if the Rams ever traded for Micah Parsons, he would be interested in unretiring. And it almost felt like a joke at that time. But then you get Garrett. And ever since then, it's just felt more and more real. And the news just keeps coming, including this brand new report from Ian Rapoport. And I know my real ones in the Ramily already know, but we are your one-stop shop for everything around the Los Angeles Rams, but especially around this Aaron Donald news, guys. We have covered every minute of this story, from the start to the finish, when Aaron Donald signs, when we all know where this one's going. We all know what's coming. We just got to get there, and we will be there to cover it when it happens, to celebrate when it happens. You know we're going live on the channel. You know we're going to party it up. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you stay up to date because, my friends, you do not want to miss a single update on this, and you definitely don't want to miss our celebration when the signing happens. Because, guys, it is happening. We could stop dropping any pretense that there's a chance this isn't happening. All of this smoke is telling me it is 100% going to, especially the new reports we got from Ian Rapoport. Here's what he had to say. A real possibility is probably a pretty good way to describe it. My understanding is Aaron Donald himself does not really know right now whether this is going to happen. If he does show up, it would probably even be to the end of training camp or maybe even into the season. Because he's not going to be playing 50 or 60 plays on defense, he'd be more of a spot guy. But yes, Aaron Donald does seem to be exploring this possibility. And then, this morning, this morning and / this afternoon, he was on the Pat McAfee Show, adding to this report, and he said this, my friends. There's a full clip of it if you want to go check it out on Pat McAfee's Twitter or just on YouTube where the show usually resides. I obviously can't show you that, but the clip or the excerpt that's really important is my guess would be that Aaron Donald comes back in the middle of Rams training camp. That would be his guess around how this situation plays out. And this is exactly what we want to be hearing at this point in time, my friends. This is exactly how this story needs to be continuing to progress. Because it does feel like for minutes here, we get a little bit of lulls. And I kind of feel the panic start to set in from Rams fans. It's like, okay, we've gone 2 or 3 days without hearing anything on Aaron Donald. Is this still happening? I'm getting worried. But it is still happening, guys. This is still being considered. And I think there's 3 major takeaways from the report from Ian Rapoport. Number 1, we've got a real possibility of this happening. It is very, very possible that Aaron Donald returns. We've known that for a while. Number 2, if it is going to happen, it's going to happen towards the end of training camp or into the season, potentially. I don't think it's happening into the season, though. I do think it's going to happen during camp. And lastly, again, something we expected, it's going to likely be a spot role. He's going to be a spot starter in this system, not playing a ton of snaps, not playing 50 to 60 snaps per game, but probably playing 20 to 30 incredibly meaningful ones. And that makes sense given, obviously, his age, but also the depth of this unit. This defensive line has some dogs in it, guys. This is the new fearsome foursome. At the end of the day, Aaron Donald is still going to be incredible at his age. We know that's going to be true. We know who he is. He wouldn't come back if he wasn't. But we've also got Garrett, Turner, Young, some dogs in this room. And we're going to continue to talk about them and Aaron Donald in just 1 minute. But before we do, guys, I've got to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, and that is our friends over at Prize Picks, guys, America's #1 sports picks app. If you're a regular viewer of the Rams Report or anything chat sports, you know all about America's favorite way to play daily fantasy. But if you've never watched the Rams Report or you've never heard of Prize Picks, it is the best way to get in on all the sports action you're probably already watching to cash in on that. All you got to do is pick from 2 to 6 players. You're selecting more or less on their stat projections, whether you're picking from points, assists, rebounds, if you want to go for some of the summer league action, hits, home runs, or strikeouts if you're into baseball. They've also got World Cup action, which you guys know I've been getting really into. Plus, they also have awesome social features that allow you guys to easily tailor fade your friends or your favorite creators on their lineups, and they offer awesome discount options, discount picks as well. Like this one they've got going for the World Cup final on Messi. All he's got to do is one pass attempt. My friends, that's going to happen at some point during this game. So include that in all your lineups on Prize Picks. I certainly will be, including this one I've got going. You guys can tailor fade that when you drop a follow on my Prize Picks profile, Jackson Durham, just my first and last name. And when you download the Prize Picks app and use code HMA to play your first $5 lineup, you're going to get an extra $50 in bonus lineups. That's code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to get an extra $50 in lineups with Prize Picks. The clickable link to download the app is in the comments and the description below. As always, thank you to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to discussing Aaron Donald. Because again, like I was saying, at the end of the day, I think a spot starter role makes the most sense for Aaron Donald at this point in his career. Coming off of 2 years of not playing football at the NFL level. I think Ian Rapoport made a really good point in his report initially and in what he said around Pat McAfee, which is, yes, as we've discussed several times on this show, Aaron remains in incredible shape. All you got to do to know that is go watch an Instagram video this guy posts. If you follow him on Instagram, it's almost scary how fit this guy is, how in the gym this guy is. But there is a difference between the kind of weightlifting and the kind of fitness that Aaron Donald does, the kind of workouts that Aaron Donald does right now, and NFL level fitness, NFL training. It's just two different levels, two different styles at the end of the day. Both obviously incredibly in shape, but two different requirements. So Aaron's going to have to start transitioning, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. That switch over from that, not to denigrate it at all, but like Instagram style of workouts to actual NFL style of workouts, to actually getting back into NFL shape. And we're going to see that happen throughout training camp. Even if he isn't there, he's going to be working independently to get there. And we're certainly going to see that happen throughout the season in his spot starter role. And all of that leads to him being a full-time starter for you in the playoffs. Because trust me, if he can be anywhere close to what he was in 2023, this is a guy that the Rams are going to want on the field for almost every incredibly meaningful snap that is coming for this playoff run. This is something I've been wanting to say for a while, this do or die playoff run for this Rams team, because the expectations are Super Bowl or bust. At the end of the day, that's something I think we've got to be real about as Rams fans. The expectation is the expectation based off of what you've built. You've built a roster that is so good, if you do not win a Super Bowl, it has to be considered falling short. It has to be considered, and I hate to say it, failure. You have to come away with it, and Aaron Donald being on the field full time, if he can be who we know he can be, is going to be a huge part of it. But let me know, are you guys as confident as I am? Do you believe Aaron Donald is coming back? If you do, like today's video for me. Sound off. Let the YouTube world know. Get this video out to more NFL fans and scare them a little bit if they're not Rams fans, and get it out to more Rams fans so we can all start to celebrate, because, guys, it's a great feeling knowing that the odds are just going up every day of Aaron Donald's return. But let's switch gears, because last night I was tuning in to season 3 of Netflix's show Quarterback. Really, really fun show. I honestly, I wish Stafford would do it. I think that's my big thing here is I know he's been in talks with them at times and it's just kind of melted down. He talked about wanting to do it and then it seems like they went into different directions. And I understand, I think maybe his kids might play a role in his decision to do or not to do this show, which is absolutely understandable. It's kind of an invasive process with them being around all the time. But we did kind of have a little bit of a reference. With Baker being on this season, he spent a little bit of time reflecting, and they get so deep with these guys. They talk to him about so many different things. He spent a little bit of time reflecting on his journey throughout his career. And if you know anything about me, you know I'm a Baker guy. I'm a huge Oklahoma Sooners fan. So this era of Rams football, despite being one of our toughest seasons, was a dream come true for me. To see just this image, the fact that it's not AI generated, the fact that it's real, personally very cool. So to see him once again reflect on this moment in an incredibly positive way is special for me, but I think it also says special things about our team. The fact that 1 month in Los Angeles was all it took. 1 month working with Sean McVay was all it took for Baker Mayfield, who had been cast aside by multiple franchises, to find the fun in football again. I think just says so much about the kind of culture that this franchise has and has had since Sean got here. Since McVay came back and replaced Jeff, or not came back, since McVay came into town, replaced Jeff Fisher, and reset this team. It really does at the end of the day. How many franchises are being spoke of that way? What do you think that does for prospective free agents who are watching quarterback and hearing about the kind of culture, the kind of investment Baker got in just a couple of weeks being on this roster? It's only going to do great things for you. It only continues, I think, the legend of Sean McVay as one of the greatest coaches to ever be in the NFL from so many different angles. We're going to close out today's show with a couple of poll results. I asked you guys 2 different poll questions this week in our community tab. Me and my producers put these together for you guys. And I want to go over the results because I think they're pretty interesting. So our 2 Ramily polls this week, as I'm going to call these, we'll continue to do them, are toughest opponent of 2026 and Myles Garrett's sack numbers. So 2 different options for you guys. We had over 4,000 people respond to these polls in total, which is really, really cool. Shout out to you guys for making your voices heard. But let's get started with our toughest opponent of 2026. And I don't think it's going to surprise many people here. The Seattle Seahawks in a landslide. 73% of our respondents, of north of 2,500 respondents, have polled in that the Seattle Seahawks will be the toughest opponent the Rams face in 2026. And I think that is 100% true. Guys, I mean, at the end of the day, 3 other really good teams here. You can make a case for a couple other teams to also be on this list, like the San Francisco 49ers, who we're going to face in week 1. But I think of all of them, Seattle by far feels like the only real threat, the only thing standing between this Rams team and achieving its destiny of winning a Super Bowl. They are a good team. We can't take that away from them. We saw that last year, but I think we're more than equipped to beat them this time around. Next up, the other poll was a question of how many sacks do you think Myles Garrett will get in 2026? And maybe we undershot our total here a little bit. We asked you guys more or less on 16 sacks, and 86% of respondents said more. Only 14% of you guys think that Myles Garrett is going to get less than 16 sacks. And I 100% agree. At the end of the day, this dude's an absolute freak. There is just no way that he's going to get less than 16 sacks coming off a 23-sack season. I think there's a chance he breaks his own sack record, especially if he gets to play alongside one of, I mean, he's one of the greatest to ever do it, but in my opinion, the greatest to ever do it. That's going to be a very, very scary tandem for every offensive line to deal with, and really not even tandem, foursome when you add in Kobe Turner and Byron Young. Man, I just get too excited every time I talk about it. I could be here talking about it all day, but that's going to wrap it up for us on today's episode of the Rams Report. Thank you guys for tuning in as always, and I'm going to see you tomorrow.